Hello and welcome to Box Office Chat, the weekly show from Movie Burner Entertainment, where we discuss the top 10 films within the United Kingdom's box office. This is for the weekend, October 26th to 28th, 2018, Stephen. We're a week behind. Yeah. Halloween is not struck on this Box Office Mojo top 10 chart, whatever the hell you want to call it. But that's what we're working off, Stephen. What's at number one this week? Surprise!
Yes, number one this week, John, is finally Bohemian Rhapsody. We've heard all about it. We've seen all about it from the trailers. And finally here in the UK, we can now watch this movie. You've already gone and saw it.
Yes, I have.
It's grossed 9.7 million in its first week.
Yes, and it's showing in an incredible 1,250 theatres. I think that's a record. I certainly don't recall seeing that many for any other film, and it's opened with a very healthy £9.7 million. That's very impressive indeed. I have went to see this film. I thoroughly enjoyed the film. Clearly I'm like every other user, mere mortal, who's went to see this film, who's enjoyed it. I take it the other 5% on Rotten Tomatoes who've reviewed this from the audience side are butthurt Queen mega fans who wanted to go into the right nitty gritty of Freddie Mercury's, and I quote, life of debauchery. I think they said his life was like, and that was from the man himself. He didn't hide it in the later days.
Or anti-Bryan Singer, John.
Yeah, or anti-Bryan Singer. Well, I'll get into that in a minute, Stephen. But this is the audience score. 95% out of 100 liked it. Nearly 7,300 reviews. So they are pretty clear. They like the film. The critics, all critics, 60% out of 100. Top critics, 44%. 44% out of 100, an average rating of 5.5 out of 10. That is just mind-boggling to me. Absolutely disgraceful. As you did say, this is because it's a Bryan Singer film, and as we do know now, Bryan has been outed. Maybe been outed. It's all hearsay just now. As a potential beast, he's been involved in some. He's been involved in some things apparently, and he's passed. Of course, I do seem to recall he was booted off this though, and I think it was Dexter Fletcher, is that his name? He came in to finish it. I'm sure I read that, although I look on IMDb and it's just Bryan Singer there. But I do think that the critical response, it's either a combination of them being butthurt left-wing, partisan liberals who want to see all the gritty, dark details of Freddie Mercury's life. They want to dive right into the whole thing about his battle with AIDS and go right to the end and go deep. And I think it's either a combination of these guys or it's the anti-Bryan Singer brigade out in force here, and I think that's completely wrong. You always judge a film on its artistic merits regardless of who has directed it, who may be starring in it. You go and watch a film and you judge it purely on its cinematic and artistic merits, and I thought it was a great uplifting celebration of Queen and Freddie Mercury. Now, I'm not a big fan of Queen, as I did say, Stephen. I like their greatest hits, and that is really it. I've never really listened to any of their albums. Everybody knows Freddie Mercury. The guy's absolutely iconic. One of the greatest singers of all time. A 4-octave voice. Just an incredible showman. One of the greatest frontmen of all time. Performers. It goes into his life. It shows you his skills as a frontman and his ability to have an audience in the palm of his hand. It doesn't go too deep though. That's one thing I will say. I can agree with them. The people are criticising it. It doesn't go too deep. It ends in 85 in Live Aid. We don't see his battle with AIDS really. It's touched upon briefly. But really, it does. But what I will say though is it does go into the human side of Freddie Mercury as well. We do see the loneliness of the man. Yeah. Certainly, when he started reaching fame, he buys his big 18-room mansion in London, and you see the odd relationship he has with, I believe it's Mary Austin, who I believe he was married to, and then he was divorced. Obviously, then says to her that he was bisexual. He went off and discovered that side of his sexuality, but it explored that weird relationship those two had. He still loved her in a way. He wanted to be with her, have her in his life. And then it showed you the kind of a hinted at the battling between the band members. Not too deeply though. But I thought it was a nice uplifting story. It was all about the band. The way it utilised the music was incredible. The recreations of the live shows, Live Aid, was incredible. Rami Malek, absolutely stunning performance. I think he deserves to be nominated for an Oscar. I think he's got a great chance of even winning the Oscar. And I thought the main players in the film, even the likes of Brian May, the guy who played Brian May, William Lee, Ben Hardy who played Roger Taylor, and obviously John Deacon, Joseph Mazzello, thought they were outstanding as well. I thought in the main it was a well acted film, but it's very much a Rami Malek show, and he thoroughly deserves all the plaudits he's getting. Very harsh criticism from the critics, so I don't know why.
Yeah, I think that's where they're missing the point, John. As you said, this is it's the Queen legacy. We know that predominantly it's going to be the Freddie Mercury story, but he was part of that band, and it would be, I think it would be a misstep in the story of Queen if they didn't include, Brian May, Roger Taylor, and John Deacon's perspective and things as well. And I didn't really think they were going to delve into the sort of last days of Freddie Mercury here anyway. I think that would be a pretty depressing movie. This is about a celebration of the band, celebration about Freddie Mercury, how his rise to fame came. You look at other biopic musical films like Walk the Line. Yeah. That skimmed the surface on Johnny Cash's drug addiction, his relationships with females, his relationship with his father, which I think they did kind of touch on, but there was a lot more. If you actually read his life story, they kind of skimmed the surface on that film. I've not seen this movie yet, John. I've saw some clips of it. I'm like you, I like a few of the hits. I'm not a big Queen fan, but it's a film that I do want to go and see. I like my music films. I watched A Star Is Born last week, just after we did our show, and I thoroughly enjoyed that as well. But you look at the other actors in this cast as well. You get Tom Holland in there. Mike Myers is in there as well. I've not seen Mike Myers in such a long time.
Well, he's heavily disguised, Stephen. It's like Tom Cruise in Tropic Thunder. Yeah,
and I think as well it's I think it's going to be a cameo anyway, isn't it? So he's not going to really appear in it too much. And as you said, Aidan Gillen's there as well, and the list goes on. Some of the actors that I'm not sure about, that I've not heard of, are playing people that I have heard of, the likes of Bob Geldof, Kenny Everett's in there as well. Yeah. I also was reading an article earlier on this week in regards to how they managed to recreate Live Aid 85, those closing scenes of this movie, and this is something that intrigues me as well, how they managed to do that. I'm very interested to see how that was achieved and how authentic it is to the real footage of that massive event back in 1985. I
thought it was nailed on, Stephen. I've got to tell you, it was incredible, the attention to detail. Just Freddie Mercury sitting at the piano, the bits and stuff like that. Amazing the way they used different angles, shooting up from the crowd onto the stage and stuff like that. Incredible recreation. That's one thing even the critics I don't think can criticise here. The recreation of the sets and all of the live performances, I think it's very accurate. Rami Malek just personifies the character of Freddie Mercury, just the flamboyant side of him, the performance side of him, and I think he nails the inner conflict and the man himself in his personal life, as I did say, troubled, lonely guy at times. But look, you're never going to please people. Even the Doors film from the early 90s with Val Kilmer gets slagged, panned by the likes of Roger Ebert. So when you're using big bands or important iconic figures who people look up to, then you're never going to please everyone. I know Sacha Baron Cohen, he was originally intending to play Freddie, and I think he wanted to go down the darker side, really go into his life of debauchery, I think they call it, frequenting also the leather gay bars and stuff like that, and just the whole side with AIDS and stuff, but they didn't want to go down that route. They wanted to celebrate the band and the man, but not go too deep.
John, see, from an actor's point of view, you can understand that. They really want to push their own boundaries and how they can achieve that, and I totally get that. And you're right, I mean, when when there was this movie has been talked about for the last 10 years, and he was always connected to the role of Freddie Mercury, and I don't think any of us could have imagined anyone else playing Freddie Mercury until this young man Rami Malek comes on the scene and blows us all away with his performance and his look as well. Yeah,
nailed it. Even the teeth, Stephen. They got the teeth in, and I thought he was incredible. It was really all about him, this film. He was very much his focus of attention, and I think he done an incredible job. And as I did say, he will get an Oscar nomination for him. If it was up to me, I think he will. I think he could win it this year because it's a stunning performance from him. But I'm going to move on, Stephen, unless you've got something to say.
No.
Number 2, and it's A Star Is Born. It's dropped one place from last weekend. It's down just 26.7%. It's grossed £2.1 million this weekend, still showing 634 theatres, taking its total gross to £19.2 million after 4 weeks. That is a stunning performance from this film, I have to say. Its total worldwide gross now sitting at £293.9 million. You was well saying £294 million off of a $36 million. $293 million off of a $36 million budget. stunning performance, and I'm not surprised because it's a much like Bohemian Rhapsody, musical-centric film. Also, this is fictional characters. It's not Freddie Mercury or the Queen, it's made-up characters. But similar story, it kind of delves into fame and how it impacts on people. It goes a little bit deeper than Bohemian Rhapsody, though, with the Lady Gaga's character and also Bradley Cooper's character. The contrast in their fortunes, one's rising, the other one's coming down because of health issues. But you said you've seen it, Steve. What did you make of it? I've been giving around about this film for weeks.
One thing I wasn't really prepared for, John, was how emotionally charged this movie is. It's a well-written film, but it's also got that. It's quite a sad story, you know, especially from Bradley Cooper's character. I can't get that song out of my head, Shallow. I can't get that out of my head now. I think it's probably a standout track from the movie. I think it is. It's really you know, getting a lot of airtime at the moment on the radio stations just now. But it's a terrific song. I think Bradley Cooper's a great voice as well. Certainly, if he wants to give up acting, he's certainly got a career in singing. And I think Lady Gaga will vouch for that as well. Her character Ali as well. One thing, you know, she's been around for about a decade now, and I've never really paid much attention to her flamboyancy or anything like that. But one thing I will say, I do like a couple of her songs. She's a fabulous singer. In this, she's very raw. No makeup on, or little makeup on compared to what we're used to seeing, and you don't really realise it's her, which is it's a strange thing to say, I suppose. But she's probably one of the most recognisable faces on the planet for the last decade, but for some reason she just looks very normal. And the supporting cast as well, you know, the likes of Dave Chappelle, Sam Elliott, etc. It's Alec Baldwin as well. It's a great cast. I think Bradley Cooper can be very proud of his first directorial movie. I think he did a great job here. There wasn't a lot of issues in regards to pacing or there wasn't really much editing that was out of place or anything like that. I think he's really put his heart and soul into this first project, and I'm looking forward to see what he does next.
Yeah, and as I did say before, I think it was a similar story, a similar theme they try to explore to La La Land, and just as I did say, the effects of fame, it's not all easy going, getting to the top. There's going to be sacrifices, relationships you'll build which will also end in tragedy sometimes, and other times not so. Also in this case, Bradley Cooper's character ends up hanging himself because of the hearing. They just can't cope with the fact that he's not doing something he loves anymore, the singing. And obviously for Lady Gaga's Ali character, she meets him, it's fortuitous, he thrusts her into the spotlight, she goes on to great success and heights. And it's similar to La La Land, also with Seb and Mia, Sebastian and Mia, they go off on different paths, and it explores that story, I think, better than La La Land did, but nonetheless, both excellent films. Different categories really. La La Land was more of a traditional musical. This was kind of a more like a drama with musical elements to it. And as you did say, great directorial debut from Bradley Cooper, and there was some amazing performances in there. And I fully expect this film to go on and get some Oscar buzz as well as we go into the season. Oh, maybe there'll be other films that'll come out I don't know about, Stephen, that'll blow me away. Who knows? First Man certainly didn't blow us away, which we'll get into. Oh, it did for me, but not others, which we'll get into later on. But we're going on to number 3, and it's Smallfoot, another Warner Brothers release. Crossed £1.57 million at the weekend. It's up 8.6% on this weekend's performance. 639 theatres, taking its total gross to just under £7.7 million after 3 weeks. We've both seen this film, Steve. We spoke about this on the Movie Burner blog last week. Its total worldwide gross, incidentally, now sitting at just shy of $193 million. So this is a very successful film, and I'm glad to see it's a very successful film. It seems to be going over well with audience and critic members alike. They're pretty clear that it's an above average film, or an average to above average anyway. I liked it. I thought it done similar to a Pixar Disney film, but it explored some important human themes underneath the glitz and the animation and the laughs for the children. So that was great. You need that, I will say that. The likes of Incredibles 2 do it great. Paddington, you need to be multifaceted to target a number of demographics. Give the laughs and the flamboyant stuff to the kids, they enjoy it, and let the more serious, impactful themes target the adults in the audience. But I thoroughly enjoyed it. I'll let you in, Steve.
Yeah, 6.8 out of 10 on IMDb, John. That's slightly above average, yeah, you're right. You know, I think Channing Tatum, James Corden and Zendaya can be very pleased with their performances in this movie, and you're right, it's sending a very simple message in regards to acceptance. Don't judge a book by its cover, we said last week as well. And it's a terrific cast. You know, the likes of Commons in there as well, Danny DeVito, etc. LeBron James, yeah. The list goes on. It's a fun film, and it's a family film. I think all the family should go along and see this movie because it's very much you know, in these times, these troubled times, it's very designed to you know, that it's one of these movies that really does let you escape the real world, you know. And you know, I think Carrie Kilpatrick and Jason Reisig, the directors, did a really good job of this. Yep. It doesn't really bog you down too much with what their message is about. It's very fun the way they do it, and some clever techniques in there as well in regards to that fog machine and stuff like that. I quite like that, and also the communication between the Smallfoots and the Bigfoots from their sort of audio perspectives. I quite like that. But it's great. It's a good film. Has it got rewatchability? Probably not for an adult. I think kids might get a kick out of it maybe 2 or 3 times. But certainly, I've got what I wanted out of it, enjoyed it, and I'll move on. Yeah,
I completely agree. Ain't got much more to add to that, Stephen. And we're going to move on to number 4. It's Goosebumps 2, Haunted Halloween. As I did say, this is a week out of date, so we were leading up to Halloween. So it's not a surprise to see this film has moved up 2 spots. In the lead up to Halloween on these charts. It's the 28th to the 26th. It grossed £1.38 million for the weekend, 543 theatres, and its total gross is sitting just shy of £5 million. And I mean just shy, it's £7 or £8 out. It's 2 weeks in. I'm not going to go and see this film. I have spoke to people who have seen the film. Scobie. He seemed to think it was very kid-centric. It doesn't surprise me because I did read these books when I was a young child. They were quite scary for people my age. They delved into some interesting stories. It was like light, Stephen King light. Didn't have the writing ability of Stephen King. I think it was a whole host of different authors. But it was a similar concept. It explored scary horror stories. This is obviously an adaptation of one of these books. So it's not doing amazing in terms of ratings on the Rotten Tomatoes, but you never expect that for a film of this ilk. 47% from all critics. 31% from top critics, 51% from the audience. It is what it is. It's doing well though, fair play to it.
Critics rating, I think, was very similar to the original movie back in 2015, John. Ari Sandel's the director of this one. Writers are Rob Lieber. I think there's a few writers actually, and it stars Wendy McLendon-Covey, Madison Eisman, Jeremy Ray Taylor, a whole host of stars in there. It's one of those films. I saw the original movie. I wasn't that impressed with it, I've got to be honest with you. I think, as you said, it's very kid-centric. Unlike Smallfoot, it's not really a all-round family film, entertaining film at all. The kids will get something out of it if they saw the first one and enjoyed the first one though.
Yeah, and its total gross worldwide, $82.4 million off of a $35 million budget, so can't imagine it's had a great push in terms of promotion because I haven't seen anything about it. So it may have just about eked out a profit or broke even when you take in the theatre cuts and stuff like that, but we're moving on very quickly to number 5. It's The Hate You Give from Fox. It's grossed £929,000 in its opening weekend, shown in just 370 theatres. Now, I can't lie, I don't know a great deal about this. I do recall seeing the young lead, Amanda Stenberg, on, I think it was Jimmy Fallon, talking about this film, talking about how it was great working with the likes of Anthony Mackie and Common. Talking about the story as well. The story is about Star witnesses the fatal shooting of her childhood best friend Khalil at the hands of a police officer. Now facing pressure from all sides of the community, Star must find her voice and stand up for what's right. She delved into it. Sounds like an interesting story to me. Sounds like it's decently acted across the board. It's obviously very much relatable to the current events over in the United States and the political situation over there with the whole Black Lives Matter, the right-wing lunatics stepping up. Obviously Trump's a bit of a lunatic as well, who falls on that side. And just the violence that's escalated over there between both sides of the political divide. And you've seen it over sustained decades, Stephen. It's a systematic racist system over there, the establishment, the police brutality and the things they do to young black people in the various different communities from all over the whole country. We've seen it at Fruitvale Station. It's a problem over there, hopefully, which is getting better and better as time goes on. But this looks like it's going to delve into that story as well. directed by George Tillman Jr., incidentally, who directed Notorious, which I thought was a fantastic film, also about Notorious B.I.G. That was a great biopic film, so I'd probably give us a bash at some point. I don't know if I would go and watch it in the cinema, though. In terms of the ratings, it's getting 96 and 94% from top and all critics, and 77% from audience members, so that may push me out to the cinema. I may go and watch it now because I've seen the feedback is very good.
Yeah, it's very positive, John, and as you said, the director, I remember him, he did that film with Dwayne Johnson, Faster. It was Faster from 2010. It was an okay film. It was okay, you know. I don't really know too much about his other work. I know he did direct an episode of Luke Cage that I'm just looking at just now, but I don't really know too much about the movie itself. Whether or not I can drag myself along to the cinema to see this remains to be seen. I've got a few on my radar at the moment. This certainly isn't one of them, but I might give it a bash.
Apparently it's based on a novel, by the way, if you weren't aware of that, Stephen. I certainly wasn't. Angie Thomas wrote the novel. So, listen, as I did say, I seen the young lead on one of the talk shows over in the United States. She seemed like a very chirpy and mature-headed young lady, and just because of the cast alone, I'd maybe go and give it a bash and the positive feedback, but it's doing well. Just under £1 million its opening weekend over here for a subject that probably won't resonate with many people in the United Kingdom, because we haven't got decades systemic racist establishments and stuff like that. Although they've been
debatable.
That's debatable, yeah. They have been kind of a systemic in the way they've handled different ethnic groups, but we'll not get into that. That's a treacherous, slippery slope I'm going down there. We'll move on to number 6 instead, and that's Venom, obviously 2018. I don't know why they put these films in brackets. It's probably an animated film that shared the same name or something. Obviously the Sony release, £869,000 it grossed. The weekend it's dropped 45.6%. That's usually a sign that a film's it's in its last legs, and it's dropped 164 theatres, just showing in 458 to now. But look, its total gross £18.8 million after 4 weeks. Can't sneer at that. That is a fantastic performance in the United Kingdom for a film which many people were slaughtering before it even came out, and indeed the critics have been panning the absolute hell out of this thing. They've been giving it the beating of its life. There's been a disconnect, as I did say, between the audience members and the critics, and as their user ratings keep going up, as you've seen that audience score going up and up and up again. I enjoyed the film. Tom Hardy was fantastic in it. He played a kind of a schizophrenic character, which is the nature of Venom anyway. It's a symbiotic alien. It attaches itself to a human target. They mesh together and you can hear voices in the background and stuff. I thought it was okay. Film of two halves. First half was a bit snide, a bit crap, focused on Eddie Brock, and then it went into a more traditional comic book action film in the second half, and that's when I enjoyed it. But hey ho, it's done well.
But has it done enough to warrant a universe, John? This is the thing that, you know, it's I enjoyed the movie as well. I think it's just went about its business very quietly. I think the studio will be very pleased with its performance. But really, this is the sort of, you take away Spider-Man, this is really the next character in line, if you like, that people are interested in from this universe. I don't know if it's got the legs to really carry on, an interesting universe. Well, it remains to be seen.
As we do know, we're getting Morbius, Stephen, Jared Leto.
Yeah.
And it crossed over $500 million, so they'll be like, yes, we're reining it in. It's like, I think Sony did the Jumanji as well, so that done a similar number, and they green-lighted a sequel right away, so I can imagine it'll be there. They'll be working their little brains away there.
Interesting though, John.
Spider-Man in.
I know why there's a 2018 in there now, because I have looked it up. There was a movie in 2005 called Venom, starring Agnes Bruckner and Jonathan Jackson. I've never heard of them, but one I have heard of, this was from 1981. This Venom, it was Klaus Kinski and Oliver Reed. So that's I don't think they've got anything to do with the comic book character, to be fair, but. It was a good film. I enjoyed it. I thought Tom Hardy was great in it. Riz Ahmed as well. I thought they all played good roles and good performances. But we'll move on, John, to as you said, we're still in Halloween mode here in the UK. In the second week, it's Halloween 2018, and it's grossed another 800,000 over the weekend, grossing overall 4.8 million, just under £5 million in 2 weeks. Quite underwhelming, I think.
And you look at that drop, 68.8% drop in its second weekend. Jesus Christ, it's down 229 theatres as well. Michael Myers is scrambling for his life, as is Laurie Strode and the rest of the gang. This film is dying here. Good Lord. I know traditionally it hasn't done quite as well here as it has done in the United States, which is just because of cultural reasons. Halloween was a thing that's just been ever present in the United States, and they love these films. It doesn't seem to resonate with UK audience members.
It's a seasonal film as well, John, isn't it? I mean, the next couple of weeks we're not going to be talking about it anyway.
No. But listen, I mean, we were speaking about this before we came on, Stephen. You've seen it again, and you did admit that you thought in the second viewing it wasn't quite as good. It didn't resonate with you quite as much. I've only seen it once. I've got no intention of going and watching it in the cinema again. I thought it was okay. It didn't blow me away. It wasn't absolutely mind-bogglingly good. I did like the way they switched up the perspective a little bit, focused more on the shape of Michael Myers. Yeah. And then the grislier, wise figure of Laurie Strode came in at the end to really lay in place all the plans she had for Michael Myers over that 40-year period. But all in all, it was a classic slasher film. They thrust the granddaughter character in to make it a classic young figure running away from Michael Myers slasher film. It's never going to beat the original. It was like we said with Predator. Exactly. You're never going to beat the original. It's a classic.
I don't think the issues were with Laurie Strode, the shape, or Will Payton's character as well. I can't remember his name.
Officer Hawkins.
Police officer. They were fine, you know. And to an extent, I thought Judy Greer was okay as well. She gave the sort of negative perspective, sort of relationship she had with her mother, that she was nothing but a nut bar, and then you had Alison as well, the character playing the teenage perspective of the story, which after a second viewing I see it more now. I see where the writers are going. They're trying to recreate that 1978 film in that regards, when Jamie Lee Curtis was a teenager as well. It kind of worked in places. I thought Andy Matichak did a good job. I just felt that there was no promotion of these characters. Judy Greer we knew because she was on the cast list. I didn't really know too much about Andy Matichak, to be honest with you. No. She wasn't in the trailers. It was all really from the perspective of the Jamie Lee Curtis character and the shape, which it should be anyway, because this is what we've been waiting to see. But there was other bits as well, John, that annoyed me. The misplaced humour in places as well. I don't know if that was down to Danny McBride or not, who I think is he's a great writer, a great comedic writer and performer. Just bits that were out of place after a second viewing. We kind of skimmed over it last week, but that bit in the cop car when they were talking about their lunches, it wasn't Halloween to me. There was nothing like that in that original movie. But I did like some of the homage they paid to the first two Halloween films, the 78 version and the 1981 version. There was a lot of things they did play homage to, that sort of following Michael Myers, that camera technique, I can't remember what it's called. That was from Halloween 2. When he's walking,
it's almost like it's on rails following the character.
So it was good in that sense. But after a second viewing, I don't think I want to watch this film again. Yeah,
the more and more I think about this film, Steve, the more I think it's just a rip-off of Terminator 2. When you think about it, it starts in a mental asylum. You've got a grisly, wizened female figure, Sarah Connor, Laurie Strode. You've got the return of this scary, monstrous figure. Although in Terminator 2, he obviously is a good Terminator, he's been reprogrammed. But then you've got the T-1000.
Maybe that's what they should have done with the shape. He's a good guy in this.
Yeah, and the T-1000, someone plays the T-1000 figure. You've got the young sort of John Connor figure and Alison. You've got it just seems to follow that path to me. I mean, it's a very, very similar film. It's like they've ripped it off scene by scene. Not scene by scene, but we've not got a truck chase in this film. But in terms of the story, they've kind of ripped it off a little bit, I thought, anyway. But we're going to move on to the next film, which is number 8.
What's up?
And it's Johnny English Strikes Again. This has grossed £765,000 at the weekend. It's dropped 55.3%. Just 55.3%. What's wrong with these people? It's showing in just 322 theatres. After 4 weeks, it's grossed £13.4 million after 4 weeks. That is just a remarkable performance for just a bog standard average film with Rowan Atkinson, Stephen. Now, I don't know if you've ever did this, Stephen, in your younger days or even your adult days, when you've been frequenting a theatre waiting to go in and see a film, in this case Bohemian Rhapsody, and you've sneaked into a screening of another film. and had a little look at what's going on. I did it in my younger days. I remember doing it with Men in Black 2 and going and seeing some other film. I can't remember what it was. I did it with this. I sneaked in and looked. I think I caught I presume it was the last 5 minutes, and Rowan Atkinson's running about with a suit of armour on, and it's jumping between nuclear submarines. Emma Thompson, I believe, is playing a government figure in this big lavish party, and it's jumping back and forward, and he saves the day. And I just walked out shaking my head. I'm like, what an utter pile of shit. How is this film gross £13.4 million? That may have been taken completely out of context because I didn't see the rest of the film, thank God. But utterly perplexed at this film's performance. Hats off to Rowan Atkinson though. Listen, I've enjoyed that guy in the likes of Mr. Bean back in the day, and even Blackadder. That's a classic comedy series in the United Kingdom, probably worldwide as well. You can't argue with that guy's career. He's a very funny guy. At times he's quite a deadpan delivery.
Yeah.
$121.5 million off of a $25 million budget. That's an incredible worldwide gross. It's made a massive profit. Rowan Atkinson set for years now. He's filled that pension bank right up. I don't know how, because I've seen the last 5 minutes. I presume I walked out and it was shit. So
Yeah.
I've not got much more to add. I don't know if you've ever did that, Stephen.
Some films I wish I did that with. Attack of the Clones comes to mind.
Hey.
But you're right, John. I think the whole Englishman out of the, a fish out of the water thing, the spy thing has been done to death. It was certainly done to death with Austin Powers. I was fed up by the third film in that series.
Yes.
And I'm a big Mike Myers fan. I'm a big Rowan Atkinson fan as well. As you said, more Blackadder. Mr. Bean I could take or leave. It was a bit silly, but his performance in Blackadder and that's Johnny English. I saw the first film and I didn't really like it, to be honest with you. It's the same kind of gags as well from what I've read. That same theme, very silly.
Well, interestingly, it's actually this one's getting a better rating than the original one.
Yeah.
Incredible.
So I think we'll just move on swiftly, John.
Yes, we will.
And it's number 9 this week. It's First Man, still hanging in that top 10, John. Which I'm pleased about because I like the film.
Yeah, so do I.
It's in its third week here in the UK and it's grossed another £300,000 over the weekend, grossing $6.8 million overall.
Yeah, I thoroughly enjoyed this film as well. I thought it was a very accurate biographical telling of the man it was, Neil Armstrong, a very complicated guy that had to deal with grief, being a kind of an awkward, shy guy. I'd never have seen him like that, I've got to be honest with you. It's not a guy I've really studied in any great detail, but apparently he was quite a shy guy. He had an interesting relationship with his wife. Obviously they loved each other greatly. She had to deal with the stress of him getting up and doing these missions, being a bit of a bunny rabbit, kind of a, what the hell was the name of the bird? No, she wasn't a bunny boil, I don't think. But there was a classic tale of the bird going down, the canary going down the mines, testing the air. That's yeah, exactly. I don't know what I was talking about there, Stephen, I've got to be honest with you. But you know what I mean, he was a test, he was like a guinea pig.
Yep.
He was getting up and testing this for the first time. These guys were trailblazers. No one had been in space, let alone went to the moon. And some people think we've still not went to the moon, but I think they get too many tin hats on their head. We definitely went to the moon, guys. You can point a laser up to the bloody landings. There's mirrors there. It'll come back.
The Earth is flat as well.
Yeah, the Earth is flat.
Yeah.
Loon balls. But I digress. I thought it was a great, intimate, introspective telling of this guy's journey to the moon. Just the impact it had on his family, the impact of losing some of his colleagues in other missions. Most notably Jason Clarke's Ed White character. I thought it was a fantastic performance from Ryan Gosling. He's really blossomed out into this fantastic actor with great range. He shrugged off the rom-com tag that the likes of Hugh Grant and stuff just couldn't shrug off because they didn't have the range to break out with it. Claire Foy in there as well as the wife of Neil Armstrong, Janet Armstrong. She was great. And there was a couple of good performances in there out with that as well. But overall, I thought it was a very good film. Deserves to do better than it's done, but this is a film that's not going to go over well with certain general fans of film. They're just not going to go and watch it. It's not something that's really relatable in this day and age. Most people have probably forgot about the moon landings. It was 40 odd years ago, or it's just something they don't care enough about to go and watch it, unless it's got all the big flashy flamboyant stuff like Apollo 13 had. This one's not like that. It's more introspective. It's got some great moments there, great recreation of sets. There is some great scenes in there where they're going to the moon. They're testing things out, testing the moon landing and stuff, and it's incredible in its accuracy, and you expect that from a Damien Chazelle film, but It's not done well. I don't know why. But in terms of worldwide gross, it's crossed just $87 million off of $59 million. That's a bit of a flop. But this may get Oscar buzz and have another run in the cinema. I don't know.
They might not remember John the moon landings and certainly remember the flag being planted on the moon.
Exactly.
And in this case, they're not very happy about that.
Oh, no.
You're right. The cast, Corey Stoll in there as well, playing Buzz Aldrin. Patrick Fugit as well, playing Elliot. List goes on, John, doesn't it?
It does, yes.
You know, Pablo Schreiber played Jim Lovell, who we know Tom Hanks portrayed in Apollo 13, and that's where the comparisons really end in regards to authenticity on the sort of movie set and feel. That's what I enjoyed about both the films. Totally different films altogether, but you're right, it's not got all the CG and the action that it never was going to be anyway. This was more about a human study on Neil Armstrong, and again, I didn't know too much about the man other than he was the first man on the moon. This delves into the effects of that, not just to him but his family members, his friends, everybody that surrounds him. It's a benchmark as well. Apollo 13, it came after this, so the stakes are higher in this movie in regards to the mission, although I think Apollo 13's problems added to the drama of that story. But this was a great film. I enjoyed it, John. We're going to move on to the final film this week in the box office, and it's at number 10. It's back in there. It's 14 weeks it's been in the box office, certainly not in the top 10, but it's certainly back in there again.
You understand why it's back in there?
Yeah, although it doesn't have the title Halloween in there because of another film that's sitting at number 4. It's Hotel Transylvania 3 Summer Vacation. It's grossed £200,000 over the weekend, 19.8 million overall. I think we all know who got the last laugh here. Yes,
it was Adam Sandler and the guys involved with Hotel Transylvania 3, up 322.5% for this weekend. That's the biggest change I think I've ever seen. Look, I actually seen the second film. Yeah, I seen it the other night. I watched Hotel Transylvania 2. Still never seen the first, but I thoroughly enjoyed the second film. I thought it was funny as hell. Adam Sandler was great as Dracula. There was some great connections with his daughter, and she just had a young baby. He's trying to thrust the baby into being like a vampire. He was willing it to be a vampire, but it's really just a normal human baby, and he's having to deal with the trials and tribulations of not being able to fly with his baby as a bat and stuff like that. And his young daughter's trying to take the baby off and live a normal life, and he wants it to be around about all the monsters and stuff like that. Very funny film, amazing animation, a whole host of goofy characters. So having seen the second film, I can now understand why this one's done so well, because it's got all the same. I can look at the cover and I recognise all the characters: the red-headed dad and the young baby, the daughter, the Jello monster thing, which was quite funny. You've got the mummy and Frankenstein, so they're all coming back again. If people have watched these previous two films, it's not hard to understand now why it's crossed over $500 million worldwide in its total gross off of an $80 million budget. This is also a franchise. It's quite funny. It's got a large audience, a fan base, and Adam Sandler he's absolutely outstanding as a Dracula figure. There's some great humorous moments in there, and I'm sure there'd have been great humorous moments in the third film, which I will see when it pops up on the TV or something. Not going to go and watch it now, but hats off to it. Absolute success. They moved it into the summer to make way for Goosebumps, and whoever made that decision made the right decision, because it's worked out tremendously for it. It's been an absolute blockbuster of a success for Sony. So I ain't got much more to add to it, Stephen. I don't think you have, and that's going to round up this week's episode of Box Office Chat, where we do discuss the top 10 films within the United Kingdom's box office. We'd just like to thank you for listening to us once again, and we will be back tomorrow with Movie Burner News.
Remember guys, if you enjoyed that episode, then do hit that like button, comment below, and maybe subscribe to the channel if you haven't done already. If you want to follow us on social media for all the latest updates from Movie Burner Entertainment, then we can be found on Twitter and Facebook at Movie Burners. You can also listen to us on Google Play and iTunes at the Movie Burner Podcast. And last but not least, if you want to access all the latest written reviews and the occasional article, then that can be found on our website at movieburnerentertainment.org. Until the next time, goodbye.